Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks very much for coming and for inviting me along. When we were asked last week, they said all the different types. So what I've done of AR, so what I want to talk about first of all is what consumers are used to at the moment, or what is quite prominent, and then I'm going to go through a number of things of the type of technology that we've developed and how we've developed it and what markets it work in. Then I'll finish off with a couple of videos showing you how it'll work in context for tourism, for education. But a lot of what you've all been talking about today, and accuracy and different things about placing things and the models and all of this, hopefully when you see what we've developed, because we have been working well under the radar for 3 years now, this might change a few things for you. Hopefully it will. So at the moment, everybody pretty much knows you can IKEA, you can put your product in, you can have a look at it, but it's not going to lead to a sale, which Barclays aren't going to be happy about. Or you're going to get something that triggers from that, whether it be from a magazine or whatever. So most of the stuff at the moment has either been on an icon on the floor, or it's been something on a page, and what we call image recognition AR. What we've been developing is different ways of actually placing that content without having a marker, without having an image that you've got to scan. And one of the key things we want to has always been since we started, was we want people to look at the phone, look through their phone, not at it, because that is all you see these days. And we're all guilty of it, and we're all like that all the time. And I know there's this issue about whether people are going to start looking from here and raise it to here. But I think soon as they realise the benefits of when it's there and when it's useful to them, not just a gimmick, then I think you might start seeing that type of change. So we all finish now. We all say, should we go and have a drink? Where we're going to go and have a drink? Currently, one of you might use Siri, or you might just type into your Google, and this is what you're presented with, a lovely list. Or you get a map. At the moment, there's a lot of companies producing and driving people for geolocation and placing content on maps. But 4 out of 5 people can't read maps, and it's an increasing trend. So at the moment, you get your lovely map up here, and then you get a list going down with each dot on there represented by that. What we want to do is put a little button here, and what we're calling it Skynes view, and Skynes are simply your signs in the sky. So hopefully we're trying to push Skynes to be the verb for placing digital content anywhere on the planet. So it'll look like that instead. So really, you can look at it, you can interactive, you can press it, it could be an offer, it might take you through to their like ratings page, it could take you through to today's offer, or even straight through to their website or social media. This would put the power back into the hands of the retailers to give you instant offers on a high street. Taking that one step further, and someone commented about it earlier, and it's a shame they weren't here to talk about it from a wearables point of view, but all I've done there is take that away. So when it moves to here, you're not getting people with this action. They're already here. You might tap your phone, you might tap the side of your glasses, but that is essentially the view without using the phone. And this isn't based upon content being pushed at you. This is just as and when you want it. It's unobtrusive. So taking it one step further from a travel point of view, one of the big things we've been involved in the last year or two, and we've been asked to look at quite a lot, is major sporting events, major live events, music, cultural events right across the planet. Obviously, you've got multilingual issues, you've got wayfinding issues, and you've got all of these people turning up in a place they've never been before, but they've got to be somewhere, and how are you going to get them around that? Currently, you've got that, but we've realised there's only one person in our group that can read a map. And by the time you get to the game, they're normally drunk. So we end up going that way to the wrong stadium. So what we're suggesting is this, that one of the brands places everything all the way around for you to see it. So we can take that one step further, and if you've bought your tickets, it could actually be linked to your ticket. So you can place where you're going to sit, where you're going to be. Obviously, you've got the main one above each stadium. But using the same platform, but using channels, we can channel the content, and you can change it. So sponsor's logo goes in here, you know where the VIPs are, official merchandise. If one of those isn't above your official merchandise, you know you're not really getting it. But what it does is it allows you to layer content for the whole event and section it in such a way that it becomes relevant to the people who are using it. This is something we suggested to a company in London for a campaign for next year. The ball's actually there. she's actually stood there, but the ball's augmented. And the idea behind it was we'd put 1 million augmented balls all over Europe, and people had to find the balls. And then if you found the golden balls, you were entered into a competition to maybe sit with golden balls himself, David Beckham, at the final of the game. So it didn't just suggest what the technology is, it gave pretty much a full agency view of how you could run a campaign right throughout there. But the thing about it is, you don't have to be an official sponsor. At a lot of these events, Adidas are a main sponsor, but Nike never do. Nike always buy the advertising at either side. They create an experience. They did Scorpion football, I think, back in 2002, and they created something like an experience for every single person to get involved, and it wasn't just about throwing 100 million at the spot at the main event and the rest. With Skynes and this type of technology, we always ask the question, who owns the sky? So really, you can have what you want in there, multi-layer. This was a game that if you took a selfie and shared it on social media, we would automatically put the tag in, and that would link you, and you would go onto a leaderboard, and then you would get different prizes depending on the leaderboard. So one thing that has been quite prominent we've discussed today is the user, and we put the user at the heart of everything we do. If it isn't going to improve them from downloading our app, the speed of the download, then we've got to improve it. And at the moment, if you're out and you download Twitter as an app, it's between 75 and 100 meg for all of them. And everyone's going, well, I need to update iOS, so I need to delete my pictures, I need to delete my videos. And everyone's saying, what point will all these apps get to a point where I've got one for this city, one for that city, one for that city? And then in a year or so, you go back and they haven't renewed it, they've just deleted it because they haven't carried on with the experience. So what we're trying to do is we've reduced that right down, and the other AR companies who produce digital images are between 15 and 17, maybe up to 18 with regard to size on the map. Our technology is 1 meg on your phone. So even when you're out, it's an instant download. And the idea is that the whole profile of Skynes is to take Skynes to become the AR browser of choice. So we don't actually become an app, we just become part of your phone, like you access your emails or something. So moving on to experiences rather than advertising. We're travelling, you come over, it's actually my wife's head, my daughter, and the other one there, and we're trying to find our bus in Palmer Airport this summer. Boiling hot, kids just got off a flight, exhaust's coming in, and you're thinking, well, hang on. If you had augmented reality, you would know which bus we were on, but so would everybody else that was looking. So in working with all these things, what we said is, there you go. And what we're looking at doing, and we delivered this last week, is tying that into your booking reference, which I touched on earlier, with the whole idea that when you come through, you open your phone, or you turn your phone on even when you're on the plane or coming through, it'll say, hi Simon, hope you've had a lovely flight. Don't worry, this isn't being used on your band, it's connected you to our Wi-Fi. Please press here for your connection. Press there, it opens the Skynes, you pan round and you can see where your bus is. But obviously your bus is outside, so before that you've got a few steps. Pick your luggage up, go through passport control and everything. We're looking at that journey at the moment using beacons, but reverse engineering beacons rather than shoving content out to you. We're using it as a base to actually, as a navigation tool through indoor environments, shopping centres. Another area within Skynes that one of our guys is leading at the moment, Jamie, is all around partnerships. So it's, in the past you might have known of visualising data as a graph or a model or something like that. Well, something like Uber, if you stand there, I think there's 3 or 4 taxis in there, and if you've ordered an Uber taxi, which one's yours? There it is. So you can actually physically see which one's yours. It gives you it's giving you the information that you get in a text message, but presenting it in a totally different way. And all this would be is we would work with Uber or one of the big taxi companies to just give them simply an API that's a call constantly. As soon as they ask it, it goes above the head. But then we said, they've recently suggested that they're going to give you a space on the street that they want you to go and stand on, like a corner or something. Have any of you been on Oxford Street during the shopping? Everyone stands on a corner because they're all waiting to get across the road, and it's chaos. So what we're thinking is, why couldn't the driver have one? So I can pick Jamie up there. I know this isn't, and he shouldn't be driving along using his phone like that, but we have actually tried with one in the dashboard of my car and a front camera under the number plate to do it. I mean, you could put it on top of the taxi, and it worked a treat. And that was sticky back plastic just to see what we could do with it. But to a company like Uber and the taxi companies, for them to put a Bluetooth camera on the roof or whatever, or inside the cab, wouldn't be a huge expense. This, from a tourism point of view as well, there's a huge thing. A lot of cities these days, especially around tourism, are trying to attract corporate and business people, not just to do business in the area, but by bringing big conferences to them. And recently we were at, the guys went to Web Summit in Dublin, and we talked to them about using our technology, but because they hadn't seen it, they felt it was too close to the event to try it out. So we did it anyway. So they give us a list of everybody they partnered with, what they were doing, and where everything was. So what we did is we went round and put them above every single hotel that they'd partnered with, every single bar they'd partnered with, what they thought was the places of interest. So in your time, every now and then at your conference, if you've got a flight later in the day, on the last day, you've got a day or so, you occasionally get a couple of hours to explore. Well, this gave them 4 or 5 different places that they could actually visit that they felt was of interest. Obviously the pub. But what they also did as well is, a big part of this conference is on an evening they have a lot of bar crawls, which is a great conference really. So what we did is we put all the official partner bars in. So everyone knew where you were, you knew where you were starting on your pub crawl and on the night. But had they known about this ahead, you could have touched this and you could have got an offer, so it could have been 2 for the price of 1, or Guinness or something. Obviously, what they did is in each night they put it in a different section of the centre of Dublin, so they blanked off a couple of streets, so we're in the middle of them. And as you can see, and I'll lead on to the personal, the user side of Skynes shortly. So, as I said earlier, more geolocation, more maps. Nobody wants more maps. This is something that has been very well received. Have you ever lost your friends in a crowd? Anywhere? And if a picture speaks 1,000 words and a video's worth 1,000,000, what is an experience? Is it 1 trillion? Is it unquantifiable? And we all say that one of the best things is when we're showing people Skynes for the first time, especially when you hold your phone up and they're there, is just watching the person's reaction. Because that's the type of thing you can't buy. Their first reaction to it tells us a lot of how they can engage with it. But everybody we've spoken to about how this works with AR, whether they can't see a use of it in the professional life, they can see use for it in the personal life. So, I want to take you all to Glastonbury. We're all stood there, we're watching the stage and do it. Well, they're facing the other way, so what I've done is I've turned around because I'm looking for the toilets. There they are. And we all need, and these are simple things that we think in all the other AR has all been based around gimmicks, games, scan. I can't remember the last time I went into the washing room in our house and opened a box of DAS and then scanned the side of it and played a game on it and then bought some more DAS. I wouldn't even know which cupboard it's in. Or a bottle of Coke if it was on the side. But if you're at a concert and there's fundamentals you want to find your way around, and even if you've got a map in your pocket, you can't read it unless you're the drunk friend out the 5. So you come out the toilet, you change your channel again, and then you can see which different information's there. Like the sponsorship there, guys. And you could buy it with your ping it as well, by pressing on it. But it's making it useful. So you've been to the toilet, you've turned around, you've found other things, you want to know where the bars are. So with this, you simply press one of those, it gives you a voucher to your handset, you present that at the point of purchase, they scan it over the bar, you get 2 for the price of 1. So brands, rather than giving you all these gimmickies, can actually A, sell more of the product, B, enhance the environment by sponsoring a festival without giving the money to the festival, they can give it to us. And they can put a voucher and they can measure the marketing. And on top of that, we think within the next 6 months we'll be able to provide them with a heat map of the whole area to tell them, which will tie in with their sales figures, which are the most popular areas within a festival for them to position their stands. So we've done that, we've turned around, there's a few of us in here, all pretty big chaps and ladies, where are your friends? There they are. What we've done is, before we've come, when you've downloaded Skynes, it's free to download and view the content through the browser. But what we thought was important was users being able to place their own content. without having a master's in AR or VR or a whole load of massive skills or graphic designers. So when we've set up an account, you have a default one that will go above your head with your name on and your photograph that you've placed. I noticed a few people have already put them in here. What you would do is you would say, well, okay, I'm going to link with the guys. I've got Sam and Holly here. I send them an email. They connect with me. So when we go to Glastonbury, I press my friends and family button, which is at the bottom. So this button here, that one says I've got a sky above my head. This one here, when that glows blue at the back, it means that friends are there. So as soon as I press that, it'll all go blue. Any other sky will disappear apart from just my friends and family. And that is where we say never get lost in a crowd again. And this is at Glastonbury, but it could happen it could be in Piccadilly here or Spinningfields or wherever. The other thing is, if you wanted to, you could drop a skein. So at the moment, we're enjoying it, but you could use it, you can drop one above your tent. But if you want to take that a bit more closer to home, why not put one above your car in a car park and then walk off? My mum uses this for this technology. At 65-year-old, she audits supermarkets. She walks in, she gets out of the car, she drops it, she walks back in, and she knows where it is. She can't read a map. She can't really drive, actually, but it's... So there is a number of reasons and why we want to do it, but one of you I think it was from Barclays, you put a different thing about the process of going through a purchase and what everybody goes through. But I'm sure we all know that emotive purchasing is a bit different, because as your emotions go high, your common sense goes down, and it's normally alcohol related. So we're back at the festival, we're stood there, and using this skein, we can provide real-time public information. So what we do is we press that skein, and it gives us the live running order for the bands coming on. So we could find out that the next band on is In Excess. So when In Excess are there, that skein changes its functionality. And you're dancing, you're listening to it, you're immersed in the moment, you've had a few drinks, you're like, oh, I love this band, I'm going to buy this. So you press the skein and it gives you this. Now, In Excess have got the choice where they might just have one offer, so when you press it, it gives you the offer straight away. This gives you 50% off the current album, 25% off the pre-order of the new one, or something that we used to do quite a few years ago was when you saw DJs, especially in the clubs in Manchester, Hacienda and places, you would go in, when you came out, you had a fantastic night, it didn't matter how much the DJ's CD was, you would just buy it, 20, 30 pound, it didn't mind, but it was that live set. And the difference is, from an emotive point of view, you're in the car a week later and you put an album on or you put the live set on, they're totally different orders. So if you put an album on, you're listening it to in your car, and all of a sudden you're coming out of one song, you think the next one's coming on, it doesn't, it goes into a different song. So it drops. And it's like, but whereas if you could buy this, but the only people that can buy this are the people who are present within that geolocation. Nobody else can. So it's an exclusive. Also, there's a big argument from the artists that the labels get more money than them, so that would allow it to turn it on its head. They'd need something like a payment gateway. Barclays, anyone? They can add this in for them so they can set it up. But something as simple as that. So that we want to move towards one press purchase. Sorry, there was my tent. Yeah. Right. Who owns a Sky? Real-time public information in during a festival for everybody to find out where the tubes are. Me finding my truck in the airport when we came back from working away last week. Jamie's son, we put that above as a bit of a treat for him when he went to Old Trafford recently when Middlesbrough beat Man United, just above his seat that he could show all his mates. But this was created by us just drawing it, just going on, putting a couple of things in, and then uploading it. So this is what we're looking to do, is the future of Skynes is we want to be a thin ecosphere around the planet of the world's information around you. So we don't want to be an Uber, we don't want to be Google, we don't want to build wearables. What we want to do is visualize everybody else's data, present what they've already got in a totally different way. And that isn't just for consumers, that's right up to companies. We've got people like Rent-A-Kill coming to us and saying, how could you track our assets on all of our sites? DHL saying, is there a way our transport manager can go like that and he can tell which wagons he's got coming in? There's infinite possibilities with it, and from a financial point of view, we think 95% of our revenues haven't even been identified yet. But we've already got 18 different revenue streams. and this is without it being popular, so it is making money. It is making it useful as well. So just before I go out, I've just got a couple of videos I was going to show you, because the other person's up there. This was a project when we did all our beta testing last year on a university campus.
I think it's really exciting and obviously very innovative and creative.
Science is now that allows content to be created and then later viewed through a smartphone or a tablet device. The main uses of Science are navigation, social and information retrieval.
When I'm going to new places, I'm awful. I mean, I don't know my way around. I can't even read a map. So imagine what I'm like when I'm going somewhere new. So if I wanted to go somewhere, instead of reading a map, I'd use Skynes and I'd set my Skynes up, and then they'd just direct me there, because there'd be one after the other tell me where to go.
I guess it adds a USP, brings some fun and excitement into the student experience as well. But it's really important to when the students first arrive on campus, because it's an easy navigation, but then they sort of are used to using mobile technologies, and this is a really good addition that helps them. People coming to university now, irrespective of really their age, are digital natives, and the universities need to make sure that we are keeping abreast of the times.
What was quite impressive to me was that at that time I was initially just starting off my master's course, and to meet and discover, wow, this is being set up right here. It just sort of gave that potential, made it feel real, that certain things can be developed, and especially for the marketing and business sectors, where you see these things developed in other countries by people who you probably study and that sort of thing. It's quite an interesting perspective to see that it's brought here and the university is backing it up. So yeah.
One of the main benefits about having this type of technology on campus is because large volumes of people are coming through that have never been to the university before, and they're often on their own, and these people need an easy way to navigate around and find themselves.
I think it gives newcomers an advantage, so they can definitely find their way around and make sure that they're on time, because I know that was a problem when I was first starting at the uni.
Would have been fantastic.
Oh, sorry. I just want to give you, and the last bit here, just to show you the travel side of it. All of these are live on our YouTube channel for you to go and look at. But we also we have an office in Las Vegas, and we wanted to look at different ways, and I think this will go more to your tourism side about, and this was all thought through from a passenger point of view. So just to finish off, there's a lot of tourism in there, the students as campuses, but we've talked a lot about heritage and things today. Talked about 3D printing and 3D models. My first degree was architecture, so I fully understand all the pain that you go through trying to deal with them. But one thing that we've been done, which I haven't shown today, is the ability to place these 3D models anywhere on the planet. So we expect them to come with us with the 3D models, and we could put a full-size car there or put a building there. We've tried it. We've been doing a number of wind farms for some investment companies in the States. So it's really there, open to your interpretation. A lot of these projects are people who've just seen a demo of what we've done and then come to us and said, could it do this? And that's where we've explored it from there.